Hey babe, welcome back to another episode of Money Mindset and Manicures. If you are new here, hello and welcome. I'm so excited for you to tune into your first episode here with me. My name is Samantha, and in today's episode, we are diving into business ownership, entrepreneurship. And if you are an entrepreneur and business owner, you're going to get some really good insight to a lot of things about how I manifested my $1 million business. But if you are not an entrepreneur or business owner and you have no desire in starting a business, I still think there's a lot of principles in this episode that you're going to love that you can apply to your own life in the way that I present them. This morning, I was meditating. And by the way, I know that I say that I'm excited about every episode that I record. And that is the truth, because I'll share this little secret with you. I don't batch record a bunch of episodes ahead of time. I literally wait until I get inspired to talk about something. Like, for example, this morning I was meditating and journaling, and I was just reflecting on my entrepreneurship career and my business and how far we've come and how I got here even. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need to record an episode on this, because I know I've talked a little bit about my business and the Manuscripting Journal and my background, but I wanted to dive into this because I've been seeing a lot of this on Instagram, and I don't know if this is my personal feed or if this is kind of like the status of everyone's out there, but I see so many business coaches or brands or businesses and companies like sharing their financial numbers and sharing how they're doing 10K months and 100K months or $1 million years or whatever. And a lot of them I know personally, or I know of them and I know their history because I've been on social media for over a decade now. And some of them I'm like, oh, I know you are brand new to this game, and are your numbers legit or is this real? And I wanted to show you some background on how I got to manifesting my $1 million business, because I'm going to be real with you. This is not the first company and business that I have. And I think that's one of the biggest keys when you're out there watching other people's content, looking at their numbers, and either you're inspired or you're feeling like, oh my God, how did they do that? And why am I not doing this? So if you are right now curious about starting an online business, or maybe you have a business or you've started it and maybe you are not hitting your financial numbers like you want, or you don't have the growth that you're desiring and you're comparing yourself to others in the online space, I'm kind of going to burst this bubble for you right now, because a lot of it is real, but I think it's kind of fabricated and fluffed in the way that it actually makes it real. So I want to take you back. If you've listened to my first podcast episode, I dive deep into my story, my why, and how I created the Manuscripting Journal, all that. So I'm not going to get into those details. Go listen to that episode because you really get to know me a little bit, especially if you're new. But I can tell you, I've been a business owner, entrepreneur for over 10 years, okay? The Manuscripting Journal is only 3 years old. I think we're going to be going into our 4th year, or we're in our 4th year already. What is time? And this is my first $1 million company. My previous companies, some of them didn't even make 10K months. Some of them barely hit 6 figures. Some of them hit multiple 6 figures in a year, but it wasn't consistent. And I'm here to share with you today that when you are starting a business, whether it's online, whether it's a physical product, I truly believe that entrepreneurship is all about self-development. Your business can only grow as much as you do. And I now can really sit here and say this. Back when I was starting my business, I kind of didn't see it. I didn't get that. But now sitting here, I'm like, holy shit, it is all self-development. It is all mental. It's all learning how to manage your emotions, working through your own personal shit and trauma and all of that. Without the self-development piece, I think it's really hard to grow an online business or any sort of business. But I wanted to share with you that when I got into entrepreneurship, my goal was this was fresh out of college. I wanted to be a model. I wanted to act. I wanted to be in the magazines, the commercials, all of that. So my goal at the end of the day, that's what I wanted to do. And that's what I started taking action on. I started learning the modeling industry. Okay, do I need an agent? Got an agent. Do I need to start getting more pictures done for my quote unquote portfolio? Yes. had to get photographers, had to get in shape, like do all of these things to like make myself a model. And I became successful with that. And I kept doing it. Then from there, as I was modeling and acting, I got obviously started posting that stuff on social media. And I was also a fitness model and in the fitness space because I love to do that. So I started sharing all those things on social media. So all of a sudden, this was before influencers were even a thing. There wasn't even the word existed. And from there, I became an influencer, just fell into being an influencer. I was like, oh, wait, influencers are a thing. Like, I need to grow my community more, my followers. I need to post more content. Started getting brand collabs, all that sort of stuff, right? And then from there, people started asking me, Sam, how did you do it? And by that point, and that also during that time, I was in a network marketing company for a few years, which at the time, gosh, I felt like I was so mentally young, like I was in my mid-ish, early 20s. I hadn't grasped the full-on concept of entrepreneurship, but that was like my first taste of like, because, you know, when you're in network marketing, they give you, you know, all the videos, the tools, all that stuff to help you grow and learn as an entrepreneur. But I still hadn't really grasped that full-on concept. I was too immature in entrepreneurship at that point. But that was my first taste. So then from there, I kind of learned like, oh, I could like monetize like coaching and teaching people. So from there, I started teaching on social media and I had social media clients and I had a group coaching program, which was very, very small because the way that I had learned was just self-taught. I researched, I Googled, I was watching YouTube videos and listening to podcasts and just taking any tidbits that I could grab and be like, oh, in this video, I learned how to make an email list. Cool. Let me set that up. Okay. Over here, I learned how to get people to opt into your freebie. If you don't know what I'm talking about, totally okay. This is all like business talk right now. But what I'm trying to say here is like, I just like picked stuff from videos and people that I'd like seen talk about it online or, you know, on podcasts or on YouTube videos or just researching Google. And I just started implementing those things. But those things only got me so far. I had noticed that, you know, when I was a social media coach and then I switched into online business coaching because my asks from my community just got so much bigger and bigger and bigger. And I had learned even just from my early days of being a model, like just pivoting and not morphing, but just being adaptable to what my community wanted and needed. And I had a really good eye for learning how to monetize things because one, I love to make money. I had up to like my mid 20s, like I had a really nice lifestyle, had the luxury car, the really nice condo, all those things. Like I was like, I needed the financial income to support my lifestyle. And also I love to help people, but it was like all this mix of like, just, okay, what's the next thing to make more money? Basically in return of helping people. It wasn't like scamming people or anything like that, but that was my driver. And also I knew that if the income wasn't coming in, then I would have to give up things of my really nice lifestyle that I loved. And I didn't want to do that because at the time, and up until even now, I'm still not married. I'm engaged, but I'm not married. But up until I met Mark, which was what, 4-ish years ago, 5 years ago, I was on my own. My entire 20s, I was by myself and I didn't have anyone else to depend on financially. So I had this fire under my ass. Like I had to constantly figure it out. And that was also my driver. And also the ego that came with that, because, hey, like if I didn't make the money, then I would probably have to go back to living with my parents, which I definitely didn't want to do at this stage in my life, right? Like that was just not something that I would want to do. And if you want to learn more on why, like tune back into the first episode. That's just not the lifestyle that I would want. There's nothing wrong with it if you ever have to move back in with your parents. But for me, I knew that I wouldn't be able to flourish with my life if I had to move back home. I had these really big drivers along the way. But the one thing that got me to really growing and expanding my business is when I had to put my ego aside in order to ask for help. Now, I don't know about you, but I don't know if this was societal programming. I don't know if this was programming from school and asking for help and I know like I could always ask my parents for help and stuff, but I was hyper independent. Like I always had the attitude and mentality of I got this. I know how to do it. Or I always acted like I knew how to do something, even if I didn't, because I just would figure it out myself. Like I was very much I'm gonna do it by myself, independent woman mentality, which, oh my gosh, now like fast forward to today and learning deeper rooted trauma issues around that, like being super hyper independent is also a trauma coping mechanism. And I learned that. But at the time, I didn't know all of this stuff yet because I hadn't really entered fully into my self development and self discovery journey. But at the time, it was really hard for me to ask for help because in my eyes, what I believe to be true, if you had to ask for help, if you had to get anyone to do anything for you or with you or whatever, that means you're stupid. How silly is that, right? Like I really thought if I ever had to ask someone for help, that I was stupid or I was incapable or, all of those like negative things, which by the way is so freaking far from the truth. Ugh, please, I need to remind myself to tell you about Who Not How book in a little bit later in this episode. But that was my mentality. So when I finally got to this point in my social media business, or even I might have even been before that, because I was also, when I was a fitness influencer, launching and scaling or launching like coaching programs, like those digital workout programs that you could print out and download. Yeah, I did that too. But I got to a point in that business where I just couldn't grow it. I was watching what other people were doing online, like as far as, oh, they would post, they're sharing that they're getting so many customers and clients and they're selling so many programs. And I'm over here like selling a couple programs a week. And I'm like, what the heck? Why isn't this working? Like, I feel like I have the website, I have, all of the systems in place. Maybe, I don't know. Like, I really thought I was doing everything that I was supposed to, and it just wasn't working. So I finally got to this point where I'm like, fuck, like, I need help. And I don't even remember exactly the moment of like what really got me to invest with my first coach. But I feel like it was this pain and struggle of shit, like I really want this to work and I don't know the next steps. I feel like I've exhausted everything. Like I'm truly very much a student of my craft. Like I'm obsessed with learning. Like I love, if I have a question or if I have a struggle or something in my business or want to improve something, like I'm going to Google. I'm going to watch YouTube videos. I'm going to read a book on it. I'm going to listen to podcast episodes and get tips from other people that have already done that, right? Like that's the type of person that I am. But I got to a point where that just couldn't get me any further. I had plateaued with my income in my business. And I'm like, fuck, like I know what I have to offer works. I just need to learn how to get it to the masses. And I think that was the moment where I'd invested into my first business coach. And from there, that's when my eyes were just blasted open. And I was kicking myself because I hadn't done it sooner. I'm grateful that I didn't do it sooner as well, because there were so many lessons, so many things that I learned along my path that got me to that point, right? So when I invested with them, it was just like, whoa, there were so many things that I was doing incorrectly. There were so many ways that I could improve in my business. And not only that, I learned so much from this mentor that I had of even about myself and how I didn't need to show up, and even things about my own personal development that I had to go through. It was super, super powerful. And from there, that's when I really started being able to grow and scale my businesses. And from there, after that coaching program was over, I had invested into a business mastermind. And from there, I had learned so much. And this, because it was a little bit different, it's not a coaching program, but I got to be in the rooms with people that had done the things that I want to accomplish. And the power in this is that everything that I'd learned in any sort of programs or any sort of things that I had invested with, it just made me have success a lot faster. Because the other route would be that I would need to learn all the information, try and test it and fail and learn. And that would take a long time. That could take months or even years to do if I were to do it on my own. But when I had invested with these business coaches or with these masterminds, it was kind of like a rocket ship, because they had shown me, hey, this is what you should be looking for as far as numbers go, or this is how you set this up, and this is how you do things on the back end, stuff that I can't see, on social media, or maybe it was way over my head when it came to watching YouTube videos and I didn't have someone to like guide me step by step. And not only that, they provided accountability, because in every single program or mentorship that I've had, you have accountability. They set, or you can set, deadlines and goals for yourself with them, and they're going to help you be accountable. And not only that, especially when you're in a group of people and you're seeing, at the time it was like in Facebook groups and stuff like that, when you see, someone's getting, wins in their business, that's making you show up more like, oh, if that drives you. That definitely drove me, because I'm a quote unquote competitive person. But for me, it's like, oh my gosh, they got X, Y, and Z. Shit, like what can I do to do X, Y, and Z? So it like gives you accountability, helps you drive yourself to show up in your business. And it gives you support, because there are days and times and moments in your business where maybe you have a failed launch, or maybe you're not getting as much sales as you would hope to. And you have this group of people that you can turn to. So that was a huge game changer in my business. And coming back to the manuscripting journal, I'm sitting here telling you like I manifested this $1 million business, but the way manifestation works, if you haven't learned yet, it's taking action on those desires. And for me, it took me, that decade of time and action, showing up, learning the lessons, picking up the skills, learning every single thing that I've done in those past 10 years, including college, which by the way, I went to college to go to med school. And you want to know how that science and chemistry and learning about the body ties in now? Well, I teach on mindset, self-development, frequency, energy. I teach on all this kind of stuff inside the Manuscripting Journal. And whenever I'm reading or educating myself on these topics, guess what you have to understand? The human body, chemistry, chemically, how things are going on, all these sorts of things. It's insane. And even coming into like, I do plant medicine, and understanding the plants and the chemicals and what's going on in the brain and the body and all these sorts of things. Like that's all rooted now from me learning stuff in my chemistry classes. So I never believe that anything that you have ever done in your life is a waste of time. And that's why when you get that desire to start a business or to pivot your business, like say you're in one niche and you want to pivot to something else, fucking do it. And not from a place of, oh, well, this just isn't working and then I'm going to go do this because everyone else is doing this, right? But if you have that moment where you get this download into your body, into your heart, into your mind, where it's like, you know what? It's time to change things up. It's time to move on. It's time to pivot into something else. Do it. Because if I didn't pay attention to those key downloads throughout my last 10 years, I wouldn't be where manuscripting is today. And in fact, even before manuscripting, my previous company, coaching business, was making a good, healthy, multiple, maybe on the shy end of multiple six figures. Okay. It was good, great money. And I could have stayed in that because it was good money. So right now, if you're in a career and you're looking to jump ship to entrepreneurship and you're like logically, oh, shit, like this doesn't make financial sense to go from X amount income to zero. You're right. It doesn't make logical sense. But if you got that message and download to start this business, to create this brand, to even if it's network marketing or something like that, getting into this ecosystem of being able to make this money for yourself. One, it's not easier by any means. Being an entrepreneur, like truly in your beginning stages, you are working 24/7. You go from working your 9 to 5 to working 24/7. And that's just part of it because you're building something from scratch. And that is also why, if you're just getting started, it might not make sense to invest in a business coach. But at the same time, if you're the type that wants accountability, that wants support, that wants literally the blueprint planned out for you and with you to build and grow and scale your business, freaking do it. Because time and time again, and let me know, just nod your head yes if you've ever experienced this, where maybe you had this idea, whether it was for a product or a business or an offering or anything like that, and you had this idea and you let it go. And you're like, oh, that's such a good idea, let it go. And then maybe months or years later, you see it out there in the world and you're like, what the hell? I totally had this idea. I totally wanted to do that. And you did it. And that's because whatever is coming to you is for you. And you have to start paying attention with that, because that is truly going to be your next key that you need to step into in order to learn more, to grow more. It could be your next $1 million business. It could be your next stepping stool to get to that next $1 million business. Remember, with me, the Marriage Scripting Journal is not my first company. It's the 5th or 6th company. I actually have to sit down and write out all the companies I've had prior. And that is why when I talk about how I manifested my $1 million business, it's not out of thin air. It came from taking action, from growth, from experience. If I had started the Marriage Scripting Journal 8 years ago, I guarantee you it wouldn't be what it is today. Because the human that I had to become, the woman that I had to grow into, all of the learnings, the teachings, the experiences, oh my gosh, even all of the tools, all of the things that I need to be good at to run this company, I wouldn't have had yet. Okay, babe, I know you're listening to this podcast because I know that you have a desire to change your life and accomplish big goals, right? But I also know that something has been holding you back on going after those big goals. Or maybe it's that you self-sabotage, or maybe you've set these big goals and you get really overwhelmed and you just don't go after them altogether. Well, I want to introduce you to a journal that is literally going to help you change your life and help you actually manifest and accomplish any desires or goals that you have. It's called the Marriage Scripting Journal, and it's the #1 selling manifestation and goal setting journal designed exclusively for empowering women just like you to up-level and change your life. Now, if you haven't seen this journal on social media already, I want to share with you that it is literally your personal guide to manifesting your dreams and unlocking your true potential. And inside its beautifully curated pages, you'll discover powerful daily journaling pages, workbooks, and exercises to help you set goals, help you plan your dreams, and manifest the life that you deserve. Plus, the one thing that I had to include, and it was a non-negotiable with this journal, is that it needed to have a community. So you'll also have access to join an online community filled with thousands of women just like you who are on the same path using the journal. So I invite you to join me and these thousands of women who have already embraced the power of manifestation and changed their life using the Marriage Scripting Journal. And I also want to gift you with a special 15% off code on your first journal order by using the code Money Mindset. The code is Money Mindset. So head over to manuscripting.com today and embark on a transformative journey by ordering the journal. So go ahead, check out the show notes, empower yourself. Answer the call to getting this journal. If this is speaking to you, I want you to join us. It's time to script your dreams into reality with the Marriage Scripting Journal, because you deserve to create and manifest a life that you're completely obsessed with. See show notes for details. So it makes sense that, back then, my first companies didn't get to $1 million in business. I was no way equipped to be able to do that. Now, I'm also not saying that your first company can't be your first $1 million business. I'm not saying that at all. But I have to be honest with you. I've met a lot of entrepreneurs. I've met a lot of really fucking successful people, and none of them have they ever made $1 million in revenue or whatever in their first company. There's always more. So if you right now are sitting here and believe that, everyone that you see on social media that is, talking about their big revenue numbers or how many clients they have and all that sort of stuff. And if you're sitting there and you're like, dang, like my company's not doing that. Or if you get started and you don't hit those numbers, it's okay. Because I guarantee you, if you DM them and ask them if this is their first business, if they're honest, they're going to tell you no. I promise you. There's always something behind the scenes that has happened, that is going on, that you don't know about. This is my message for you. If you have that desire to start a business, if you have that desire to launch a product, to launch an offering, to become a coach or anything like that, just go for it and try. Because again, if it came to you, it is meant for you. And if you don't utilize this download, guess what? It's an energy. It's going to go to somebody else. I promise you. It goes to somebody else. And then maybe they'll take action on it. If you are needing help with this, and I get asked this multiple times a month, Sam, will you coach me? Will you help me launch my business? I want your advice. I want your tips. I want your help. And I always say no. And it's not because I'm a bitch and I don't want to help someone. It's because I'm fully right now invested into growth of the Marriage Scripting Journal and that company. That takes 90% of my brain cells, honestly. And I would be doing it a disservice if I took on coaching clients. And with that, I want to share with you somebody that 100% will take you in under their wing to teach you everything that you need to know. And if you listen to my previous episode with Jessica DeRose, that is who I'm talking about. She is launching in about a week or so, depending when you listen to this episode, in early March, DBE Live. She has a company called Digital Business Evolution. And she is offering 2 weeks free coaching with her inside her live experience, where she'll help you draw up the blueprint for your business. She's going to help you craft your offer. She's going to help you start your business. And by the way, if you have already launched your business, I still recommend going through this with her, because the stuff that she gives away, that she teaches you in this workshop is mind-blowing. I literally keep telling her, like, girl, you need to stop doing this for free. Like, what are you doing? This is gold mine. Like, this is, if you just go through her 2-week workshop, like, you will make money just from the things that you learn in there. And guess what? I will also be joining and doing it. And by the way, did I say it's completely free? I will be doing it as well, because I am a student of my craft. There's always something for me to learn. There's always something for me that maybe I forgot to implement into my business, or maybe I haven't done it in a long time that someone else can remind me of. I'm going to be going through it as well, because I am always a student of my craft. And Jessica is someone who not only is an incredible online business coach, and what she offers is just like top tier, but also she's been a business owner before having a coaching business. She's actually done it. She's grown her own companies to multi-million dollars before she stepped into coaching, which I think is a huge key to who you decide to invest with when you decide to invest in a coach, a program, a mastermind, etc. I highly recommend you have to know that they have done it before, and that they are not just regurgitating another coach's program, which I see a lot of that in the space, where someone just decides, I'm going to be an online business coach, and they go through a coaching program. And then all of a sudden, a couple weeks after they're done with that program, they say that they're an online business coach and they're going to help you get to 10K months, when they haven't even done that themselves yet. I feel like it's like this interesting MLM style of online coaching that's happening in the space right now. But that's why, and if you are new here, or if you've been in my world a while, I only promote and talk about other products or people or services that I highly recommend, that I know are tried and tested and true. And to add, with Jessica, she's made multiple, I think she's made over 30 millionaires in her coaching program, starting from scratch. So she literally is an incredible woman. She loves to give. And all that her goal is, and all she wants to do, is just help you change your life in a way where you can change it for generations to come. So click the link in the description below this podcast episode. You can sign up for DBE Live. And if you are watching this or listening to this and it's way past DBE Live, I still recommend go follow Jessica. Let her know that you're coming into her world through me, because even though this DBE Live is only once a year, she does have, maybe you're listening to this 6 months away from now or something like that, and maybe her next one will be coming up, or maybe you'll just join her coaching with her or something like that. But I highly recommend it. And just know and trust that when a message comes to you to go do something, especially when it comes in business and entrepreneurship, jump on it. I know it's scary. I'm in this company business scared like every day. Truly, I'm always doing things to up level. I'm always hitting my new limit. I'm always hitting that next level of entrepreneurship. And it comes down to, it's all just personal self-development. And I truly believe on this road, it is one of the most transformative things you can do for your life because you're constantly learning, you're constantly experiencing, you're coming up with ideas, you're executing stuff. Like it is, even though at times it's the most stressful and hardest thing you can do, it's also the most rewarding and it impacts everybody around you. So I highly recommend for you to just take that leap, or at least try, or at least just join DBE Live with me and Jess and just go through it. Like I said, she's going to help you plan out the blueprint for your business. She's going to help you create your offer and how to get started and all of that. It is a gold mine in there. So click the link below. Let me know. By the way, let me know if you join. I want to know because I think also what we will do with this is maybe inside the Marriage Gifting Sisterhood, all those women that join DBE Live, and I know she's going to have a Facebook group and all of that stuff is going to be so incredible and going on. But I'm thinking we can create some sort of support system inside the Marriage Gifting group. So then I can get to know all of the entrepreneurs that are inside my community. Because I know we have kind of touched on that a little bit, but not as much. And I think I was kind of honestly holding back from talking on business because I didn't want people to come to the community for business coaching because I'm not offering it. But I think if we create a little support group in there, especially during DBE Live or even after that, where you women can share your journey in business, you can get support, you can share your wins, share your struggles, anything like that, I think will be so great. Because when I was starting on my entrepreneurship journey, I was very much alone and it was not fun because there's shit that you go through. There's the highs and lows in business and it sucks when you have nobody to talk to or turn to about it. And I think for a lot of people, if you didn't have that big fire and drive like I did with my ego and finances, it's really easy to quit and give up. And I think that's why people quit and give up because they don't have that support system in place. So let me know if you join DBE Live. I hope this episode served you. And if you had an aha moment or if this makes you really hyped up and excited, I would love for you to leave me a review. I haven't asked in a while in some episodes, but just so you know, right now our podcast is fully self-funded. I don't have any advertising or ads or anything like that running for the podcast. But reviews really help because that signals to Apple and Spotify or wherever you leave the review that I am doing a really good job and giving out some value content. And maybe because of your review, it bumps up our podcast to show up on another woman's feed that she needs to listen to an episode. So please leave a review. Thank you so much for listening, and I will see you in the next episode. I love you so much.